12 o'clock, here is the midday news. First, the top stories. Ogun government to spend 345.4 billion naira on its projects and services in 2018. House of Representatives and Senate shift the 2018 budget bill debate till next week. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo worried over the mass exodus of doctors from Nigeria. 80 killed by bandits, suicide bomber in mosque, Fulani counts in Adamawa. In foreign, Zimbabwe's sacked vice president to replace Mugabe. US Navy aircraft crashes into the sea with 11 passengers and crew. Good afternoon, I am Chienye Egwuonwu, bringing you the news in details shortly. Now the news in detail. Governor Egwuonwu has presented the Ogun State 2018 appropriation bill of 345.4 billion naira to the State House of Assembly for consideration. The appropriation bill is about 57% higher than the outgoing 2017 budget of 221.1 billion naira. The breakdown of the budget shows that capital expenditure is allocated 223.7 billion naira, which is about 64.7% of the expenditure, while the recurrent expenditure takes 121.6 billion naira. Education sector is allocated the lion's share of 79.2 billion naira, representing 22% of the budget size. Presenting the budget bill, also says that 73 billion naira is voted for the rural infrastructural development and employment generation, while 45 billion naira is allocated for housing and urban renewal projects, 21 billion naira each for agricultural and health sectors, respectively. Responding, the Speaker, Suraj Adekunbi, promises that the State Assembly will do justice to the bills. Meanwhile, Ogun State government plans to establish a tribunal to settle pending chieftaincy disputes in the state. Governor Egwuonwu, who announced this while presenting the 2018 budget to the State House of Assembly, explains that the proposed tribunal will provide an alternative conflict resolution to the numerous chieftaincy cases. The governor also promises that the proposed 2018 budget makes provision for the completion of the ongoing road projects in the state, including the 26-kilometer Shagam-Ogijo, 28-kilometer Ikongba-Ilese-Tele, 26-kilometer Ileshan-Agoiwoyi, and the 36-kilometer 10-lane Abeokuta-Shagam Interchange Expressway. Other road projects targeted in the budget are the 24-kilometer Aton-Agbara, 24-kilometer Songo-Ojodu, 5.5-kilometer Enugada-Lafewa-Adaton, 10-kilometer Adaton-Alabata Camp Junction, as well as the flyover bridges at Ilaro, Ojureore in Ota, and Lusada Junction. On transportation, Amoso says the state government will commence the operation of commercial buses and taxi in some towns in the state. House of Representatives is to begin a debate on the 2018 8.6 trillion naira appropriation bill on Tuesday next week. Deputy Speaker Yusuf Lasso, who announced the date during the plenary session of the House, says the debate will be concluded on November 30. The debate will be followed on December 4 with a public hearing to get input of Nigerians into the bill. Meanwhile, the Senate has shelved the takeout of its debate on the appropriation bill till next week. Senate President Bukola Saraki, addressing the Senate plenary, explains that the shift is to allow the passage of the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy papers this week. Saraki asks senators to obtain copies of the bill ahead of the debate. West Africa Examination Council (WAEC) has released the results of the November-December Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, written by 131,486 private candidates. Only 34,664, or 26.01% of the candidates who wrote the examination, obtained credit passes in 5 subjects, including general mathematics and English language. The results were released at the annual meeting of the Nigerian National Committee of the Examination Body in Katsina. Nigerian National Officer Olu Adenipekun, announcing the results, says the results were poorer than those recorded by candidates in 2015 and 2016 edition of the examination. Against credit pass mark of 26.01% this year, it says 28.58% was recorded in the 2015 edition and 38.58% last year. The WIAC official says the results of 14,756 candidates are being withheld for suspected examination malpractices, and candidates are advised to check their results on the Council's website at www.waec.director.org. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed concern over the mass exodus of medical doctors from the country. Osinbajo blames the situation, which according to him needs to be addressed on the condition of service of doctors in public hospitals and poor health care system in the country. The Vice President, speaking on the issue at the 60th anniversary celebration of the University College Hospital, Ibadan, suggests the creation of the right condition by investing in infrastructure and fighting corruption in the health sector. He also says there is the need to redefine an approach to the healthcare delivery, the management of public hospitals, and provision of an enabling environment for the private sector. Recently, Chairman of Nigerian Medical Association in Lagos State, Dr. Olumuyiwa Odishate, says over 100 doctors quit the University College Hospital Ibadan this year alone, while over 800 resigned from Lagos public hospitals in the past 2 years. Gunmen have attacked a Fulani state settlement in Adamawa State, leaving 30 members of the community dead. Victims of the attack, which took place in the Numan local government area on Monday, were women and children. Spokesman of the State Police Command, Othman Abubakar, confirms the number of casualties and says the gunmen are being tracked by security forces. Northeast Zone Chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeder Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Mafindi Damburam, however, puts the number of those killed in the attack at 60. 45 bodies of those killed, according to him, had been recovered and buried. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris to immediately stop attacks by armed bandits in Zamfara State. Buhari, in a statement, also directs the police chief to visit the communities where gunmen killed scores of people in Shinkafi and Madadum local government area. At least 50 worshippers have been killed in a suicide bomb attack on mosque in Mubi, Adamawa State. Several others were also injured in the attack. The teenage boy suicide bomber launched the attack on the mosque packed with worshippers during the morning prayers. Spokesman of the State Police Command, Othman Abubakar, says the teenage boy, wearing a suicide explosive vest, entered the mosque shortly after 5 p.m. along with other worshippers for morning prayers. The boy detonated the explosive vest midway into the prayers, causing an explosion which blew off the roof of the mosque. The town, once captured by Boko Haram fighters, had been spared of terrorist attacks on Madagali and Gulak in the state. You're still listening to the national news on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you business and sports news. Please do stay with us. In foreign, Zimbabwe's former vice president, whose sacking led to the shock resignation of a longtime leader, Robert Mugabe, could be sworn in as the new president within hours, the ruling party says. Emerson Mnangagwa, who fled to South Africa 2 weeks ago, is due to arrive back later today. His dismissal led both the party and the military to intervene and force an end to Mr. Mugabe's 37-year-long rule. The news sparked wild celebrations across the country late into the night. The announcement that the 93-year-old was stepping down came in the form of a letter read out in Parliament on Wednesday, abruptly halting impeachment proceedings against him. A ZANU-PF spokesman said Mr. Mnangagwa, 71, will serve the remainder of Mr. Mugabe's term until elections, which are due to take place by September 2018. Meanwhile, opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai hoped that Zimbabwe was on a new trajectory that would include free and fair elections. He said Mr. Mugabe should be allowed to go and rest for his last days. A U.S. Navy aircraft carrying 11 crew and passengers had crashed into the sea off the coast of Japan. The cause of crash is unknown and the names of those on board are being withheld, while next of kin are notified, the U.S. Navy said in a statement. The aircraft was en route to the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan in the Philippine Sea. The U.S. Navy lost 10 personnel in August when the USS John McCain collided with a tanker near Singapore. Next is the business news. In business, Nigerian Ajib Oil Company has acquired a farm in Bayelsa State to train youths, women, and local farmers in the Niger Delta on agriculture to stop restiveness in the region. The oil company also provided over 5,000 poultry beds, 17,000 plantain suckers, 100 banana suckers, 2,500 bundles of cassava stems, over 500 pineapple suckers, and 350 kilogram maize seeds to farmers in the region within the year. The Vice Chairman and Managing Director, NAOC, Massimo Insula, says the agricultural initiatives were all part of the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company's Green River project. Speaking in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State capital, at the company's 21st Farmers' Day celebration, Insula explains that over 2,000 yam seeds and 850,000 fingerlings were also distributed to farmers. Finally, sports news. The Confederation of African Football Executive Committee has set up a committee to map out the support for African representatives at the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. Africa will present 5 countries in Russia by next year. Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco, Senegal, and Tunisia have all qualified after the just concluded World Cup qualifiers. Ahead of the FIFA World Cup draws on December 1st, CAF has named Ghana FA President and CAF First Vice President Kwesi Nyantakyi as the head of the support committee, while Kalusha Bawala and FA's presidents of all the qualified countries will be members of the committee. The CAF Support Committee for African teams that qualified for Russia 2018 are expected to hold its first meeting on the sidelines of the draws ceremony by next month in Kremlin Palace, Moscow. That was the midday news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun government to spend 345.4 billion naira on its projects and services in 2018. House of Representatives and Senate shifts 2018 budget bill debate till next week. Vice President Oshibajo worried over the mass exodus of doctors from Nigeria. 80 killed by bandits, suicide bomber in mosque, Fulani camps in Adamawa. While in foreign, we also told you that Zimbabwe's sacked vice president to replace Mugabe, and U.S. Navy aircraft crashed into the sea with 11 passengers and crew. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you so much for listening. I am Chienye. Good afternoon. I do have a lovely day ahead.